In a world that rewards ego, it can be strangely disorienting to admire someone who doesn't seem interested in being admired. Maybe you've felt that quiet confusion yourself. You scroll through headlines and social media and see faces, names, and carefully crafted images. You notice how loud confidence is rewarded, how arrogance is often mistaken for strength, and how attention seems to collect around those who shout the most. And somewhere in the mix, you see a simple video clip of Keanu Reeves quietly giving up his subway seat, or Robert Downey Jr. gently comforting a fan who is overwhelmed, and something in you pauses. You don't quite know why. It's not a dramatic scene. It's not a movie. But it lingers in your mind. There is a quiet question that appears. In a world that keeps telling us to be more, to push harder, to be visible, to stand out at all costs, what does it mean to choose character instead? This story isn't about their fame, their movies, or their careers. It is a piece of reflective storytelling, inspired by the kind of choices and energies we associate with them. Humility over ego, kindness over performance, and growth over image. It's about the subtle inner decisions that any of us might face, even if no camera is rolling and no one is watching. It begins in a very ordinary way. Imagine you're sitting in your room late at night. The light from your phone screen reflects faintly on your face. You're not really watching anything specific, just letting one video lead into the next. Somewhere between a funny clip and a random interview, a calm, soft-spoken conversation with Keanu Reeves appears. He's sitting in a chair, speaking about life, grief, and the simple hope that the people we love will miss us when we are gone. There's no grand speech, no dramatic crescendo, just a man who has seen both success and difficult loss, speaking in a way that feels almost shy. You notice how many comments call him wholesome or pure. You notice how people seem relieved that someone with that level of fame can still appear gentle and grounded. A similar thing happens when you see Robert Downey Jr. talk about his past struggles, his mistakes, and his recovery. He doesn't deny the pain he caused or the damage he went through. He doesn't pretend it was easy. He simply acknowledges it, with a small smile that carries both regret and gratitude. He often shifts the attention away from himself, giving credit to those who helped him, those who believed in him when he didn't believe in himself. It's not that these men are perfect. It's that they seem to have made a subtle decision. They will not let their ego be the whole story. And the more you think about it, the more it reflects back on your own life. There is a moment in almost every person's life when they realize they are being measured. Sometimes it starts early. Grades, trophies, teachers' comments. Sometimes it comes later. Job titles, salaries, followers, likes, compliments. You start to understand that the world has a way of putting a number or a label on your value. You are smart, or average, or talented, or behind. It can be intoxicating when the measurements are in your favor. More attention, more praise, more approval. There is a subtle, invisible hand that pushes you toward ego. Do whatever it takes to keep this feeling. Don't let it go. You might recognize it in small moments. You tell a story at a gathering and everyone laughs. You exaggerate a little bit the next time, just to make sure they laugh again. You post something online and it gets more likes than usual. You start thinking of what else you can post to keep that reaction alive, even if it doesn't feel entirely like you. You are praised for being strong, so you hide your sadness or confusion because you don't want to lose that image. Slowly, without meaning to, you begin to build a version of yourself that is designed for other people's eyes. And it works, up to a point. People respond to it. You feel important sometimes, maybe even powerful. But in the quiet moments, when no one is watching, there can be an emptiness, a sense that you're living next to your real self instead of inside it. This is often where the real story begins. not with applause, but with the echo that follows when the applause fades. When you listen carefully to people like Keanu Reeves or Robert Downey Jr. speak about their lives, you don't hear a simple success story. You hear something more complicated, more human. You sense how grief shaped Keanu's outlook, how loss stripped away some illusions about what really matters. He doesn't talk about it to gain sympathy. He simply carries it, and through that carrying, his priorities have changed. Fame, for him, seems less like a crown and more like a circumstance, something that came with his work, not the point of his existence. He is often quiet in interviews, almost uncomfortable with praise. He pauses before answering, chooses simple words, avoids making himself the center of every sentence. It feels like he knows how fragile everything is, how quickly it can be taken away, and how little ego matters when you are sitting alone with your memories. Robert Downey Jr., on the other hand, often talks with a playfulness that almost hides the depth of his journey. But when he opens up about his addiction and his self-destruction, it becomes clear: ego did not save him. Success did not save him. Stardom did not save him. What saved him were things that have nothing to do with red carpets: the decision to accept help, the humility to admit he couldn't fix everything alone, the discipline to rebuild slowly, the gratitude that comes from being given another chance. Their public images are different, but there is a shared thread. Both men have lived through experiences that expose the limits of ego. Life has a way of doing that to all of us, even if we are not famous. It might not be rehab, or a public scandal, or a widely reported tragedy. It might be something quieter, a breakup that forces you to see how selfish you've been, a job loss that reveals how much of your identity was tied to a role, a health scare that makes your goals look strangely small, a sudden loneliness that shows you how fragile your social circle really is. These moments can feel like the end of the world, but they often mark the beginning of a different kind of life. There is a simple, almost uncomfortable truth: ego is often rewarded, but it is rarely fulfilling. When you choose ego, you might gain recognition, but you also gain tension. You constantly have to defend your image, protect your status, outperform others. Every interaction becomes a subtle negotiation. How does this make me look? Does this raise me up or bring me down? It is exhausting. When you choose character, the rewards are less obvious. There is no metric for quiet integrity, no chart for compassion, no trophy for being honest with yourself. The world doesn't always praise you for apologizing sincerely, for choosing not to brag, for stepping back so someone else can shine. And yet, these are the choices that often allow you to sleep peacefully at night. If you look closely at the lives of people who seem genuinely grounded, regardless of their status, you find certain patterns. They don't feel the need to win every conversation. They can say "I don't know" without shame. They can admire others without feeling smaller. They can be alone with their thoughts without panicking. You might notice traces of this in Keanu's soft-spoken presence, or in Robert's willingness to laugh at himself, to acknowledge his past without pretending it was some glorious, heroic path. But the real question is not about them. It is about you. At one point or another, you will likely face a choice between ego and character in your own life, even if it looks very small from the outside. It might be at work, when someone else is given credit for something you contributed to. Your ego might push you to make sure everyone knows it was you, to correct the story, to demand recognition. Your character might suggest a different approach, speaking the truth calmly if needed, but without humiliating anyone, without letting resentment poison you. It might be in a relationship, when an argument arises and both of you feel the need to be right. Ego cares very deeply about being right. It will push you to dig up old mistakes, to use sharp words, to protect your pride at all costs. Character might encourage you to ask, what is more important here, winning or understanding? It might lead you to say, "I'm sorry," even if your ego could list 1,000 reasons you shouldn't have to. It might be in how you treat people who can do nothing for you. The waiter, the cleaner, the stranger asking for directions. Ego is selective with kindness. It saves it for those with status, for those whose approval matters. Character shows itself most clearly when there is no advantage to being kind, when no one is watching. Choosing character in these moments rarely feels glamorous. It often feels vulnerable. Sometimes, it even looks like loss in the eyes of others. They might say you're too soft, too naive, too easily overlooked. But slowly, quietly, something else grows: self-respect. Not the loud, performative kind, but a deep, stable sense that you are living in alignment with your own values. Many people assume that choosing character means refusing all ambition, success, or confidence. But that's not what this is about. Keanu still acts. Robert still performs. They still accept roles, attend events, speak on stages. They are not hiding from the world. But there is a noticeable difference between ambition that is rooted in ego and ambition that is rooted in purpose. Ego-driven ambition says, "I must be seen as the best, or I am nothing." Purpose-driven ambition says, "I want to do this well, because I care about the work, the people, and the impact." The same action, a performance, a project, a dream, can be driven by completely different energies inside. You can feel this difference in your own life. If you chase a goal just to impress others, every setback will feel like a threat to your identity. If you chase a goal because it means something to you, setbacks become teachers instead of enemies. It doesn't mean they don't hurt. It doesn't mean failure becomes fun. It simply means your worth is not chained to the outcome. This is where many people who have made it in the world eventually arrive, often after a lot of internal struggle. The realization that all the awards and applause do not answer the more intimate questions of life. Who am I when no one needs me? Can I live with the way I treat others? Do I like the person I've become? If everything was taken away, what would still be mine? These are questions of character, not ego. You might wonder how to begin shifting from ego to character in a world that seems to reward the opposite. The answer is rarely dramatic. It usually begins with small, honest acknowledgments. You notice where your ego is loudest. Maybe it's in conversations where you feel insecure. Maybe it's when someone else receives praise that you wanted. Maybe it's when you make a mistake and feel an urgent need to hide it. Instead of pretending you're above all that, you simply admit it. Yes, my ego wants to be seen right now. It wants to defend, to boast, to fight. There is no need to shame yourself for it. Ego is not a villain. It is a part of being human. But it does not have to be the one making your decisions. Over time, you learn to pause between feeling and acting. Someone insults you. Ego wants an immediate comeback. Character suggests taking a breath and choosing words that align with your values, not your anger. You receive praise. Ego wants to exaggerate, to believe this defines you. Character suggests gratitude, and perhaps even a moment of private humility. This is nice, but it is not all of who I am. You are tempted to share something just to look good. Ego wants the post, the reaction, the attention. Character quietly asks, is this true? Is this necessary? Is this coming from a place of honesty or performance? At first, you may fail more than you succeed. You will look back on conversations and think, I wish I had responded differently. You might feel frustrated with how automatic your ego reactions are. But this, too, is part of choosing character. The willingness to see your own flaws without collapsing under them. The commitment to try again, to grow a little each time. If you listen to people who have walked through famous highs and painful lows, you will often hear a similar sentiment: I am a work in progress. This is not false modesty. It is an acknowledgement that character is not a destination you arrive at once. It is a direction you face daily. In a world that rewards ego, men like Keanu Reeves and Robert Downey Jr. stand out not just because they are famous, but because they consistently appear to choose something quieter, more grounded. They remind us, through their manner, their words, and their stories, that it is possible to be visible without being consumed by visibility, to be successful without believing that success defines your worth. But the most important part of this reflection is not them. It is what they mirror back to you. You may never walk a red carpet. You may never be interviewed on a talk show. But you will absolutely face moments where you can choose between feeding your ego and feeding your character. You will be given chances to impress and chances to be kind. You will have opportunities to win at the cost of your integrity, or to step back and keep your inner peace. You will feel the pull of performance and the quieter call of authenticity. No one may ever applaud the choices you make in those small, unrecorded moments. There may be no headline, no viral clip, no public praise. But your life is not lived for the crowd. It is lived from the inside out. In the end, the people who know you best will remember how you made them feel, not how important you tried to appear.